It was 11:47 p.m. Police Chief Robert Harrison knew the moment he hung up the phone that his 30-year career was over, because that phone conversation had been recorded, and now, in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, that audio tape was about to be played. Within the cold walls of Providence Courthouse, an extraordinary silence reigned. The man standing before Judge Frank Caprio wasn't just any defendant. Robert Harrison was the police chief who had been responsible for Boston's security for 30 years. But today, the dark secrets he had hidden behind that powerful uniform were about to be exposed one by one. "Mr. Harrison," said Frank Caprio, adjusting his glasses, "for 30 years, you've ensured this city's safety. People trusted you, respected you. But today, you're here for very different reasons." Harrison's hands were trembling. Every word from that phone conversation at 11:47 p.m. echoed in his mind. "Cancel the operation. Keep your men safe," he had told the person on the other end. He didn't know then that FBI agent Sarah Chen had recorded this conversation. Frank Caprio opened the file in front of him. "Prosecutor, we're listening to your charges." Prosecutor Michael Rodriguez stood up. The documents in his hand were the result of months of undercover investigation. "Your Honor, the Robert Harrison standing before you today has violated his oath, abused his authority, and collaborated with criminal organizations." There was tremendous tension in the courtroom. Journalists were trying not to make even the sound of their pens. Rodriguez continued. "Harrison received $50,000 monthly in bribes in exchange for protecting the operations of the gambling ring codenamed Golden Table." Frank Caprio's eyebrows furrowed. "These are quite serious allegations, Counselor. What evidence do you have, Your Honor?" "We have both audio recordings and bank account statements. Additionally, an informant from within the gang has detailed all operations." Harrison spoke for the first time. "Your Honor, these are completely baseless allegations. For 30 years I have." "Silence, Mr. Harrison," said Frank Caprio in a stern voice. "You'll speak when your turn comes. Now let's hear the prosecutor's evidence." Rodriguez began presenting his first evidence. "Your Honor, 6 months ago, the FBI detected an increase in gambling activities in our city. We launched a normal investigation, but encountered a strange situation. Every time we were about to raid locations, they had been evacuated beforehand." Frank Caprio leaned forward. "So information was leaking from the inside?" "Exactly, Your Honor. This led our suspicions toward the police department. We formed a special team and launched a covert operation." Rodriguez pointed to a large screen. "The person you see here is Vincent Torres, the gambling ring leader codenamed King. Our FBI agent Sarah Chen managed to infiltrate this gang for 3 months." The photograph on the screen showed a luxurious casino hall. Through cigarette smoke, men in expensive suits were gambling. These photos were taken from inside the Golden Table gambling house. Harrison was aware of this place that turned over dollar to million weekly. Prosecutor Rodriguez was reaching the most critical moment of the trial. "Your Honor, the audio recording you're about to hear definitively proves Harrison's guilt." Frank Caprio's face hardened. "Let's hear the audio recording." The courtroom fell into deep silence. The voice coming from the speakers made everyone's hair stand on end. "Harrison here. Is there an operation tomorrow night?" "Yes, Chief. They're going after the big game on Elm Street." "Cancel it. Pull your men from there. There'll be a raid in 2 hours." "Understood, Chief." "When is the payment?" "As usual. It'll be deposited into the account." The shock on Frank Caprio's face was the kind he couldn't mask. In his 30 years of judicial experience, he had never seen such betrayal. "Mr. Harrison, is this voice yours?" Harrison's face was completely white. His lips were trembling, but no words came out. His lawyer intervened. "Your Honor, my client claims these recordings are fabricated." "Fabricated?" asked Frank Caprio in a stern voice. "Counselor, did you have technical analysis done regarding the authenticity of these recordings?" "Yes, Your Honor. The FBI's audio analysis unit confirmed these recordings are 100% authentic." Voice comparison with Harrison's other conversations was also conducted. The match rate is 99.7%. Rodriguez dropped his second bombshell. Your Honor, now we'll examine bank account records. Harrison's bank statements appeared on the screen. This account is where Harrison's official salary is deposited. His monthly income is $8,000. But look at this account, Rodriguez said, pointing to another statement. Large amounts are regularly deposited into this account in the Cayman Islands. Frank Caprio removed his glasses and carefully looked at the numbers. These figures, $300,000 total in the last 6 months. Exactly, Your Honor. And the dates of these money transfers perfectly coincide with the gambling gang's major operations. Harrison couldn't stand it anymore. This money isn't mine. I don't know where it came from. Frank Caprio looked angrily. Mr. Harrison, you're a police chief. Don't you know you have an account in the Cayman Islands? Who opened this account? Harrison's lawyer tried to intervene, but Frank Caprio silenced him. No, your client will answer this question. Mr. Harrison, who opened this account? I opened it, but Harrison's voice came out trembling. But what? Why did you open an account in the Cayman Islands? Harrison was silent, because the answer would mean admitting his guilt. Frank Caprio said, Counselor, call your informant. The doors opened and a man whom few people recognized entered. This person was Diego Martinez, Vincent Torres' right-hand man who knew all operations within the gang. Mr. Martinez, said Frank Caprio, do you realize how important what you're about to say here is? Yes, Your Honor. We've been collaborating with Harrison for 2 years. A tremendous wave of astonishment spread through the courtroom. Harrison was struck as if by lightning. Martinez continued. Initially, Harrison had gambling debts. Boss Vincent made him an offer. In exchange for erasing his debts, he would provide information about police operations. How much debt did he have? Asked Frank Caprio. $500,000, Your Honor. Harrison was a gambling addict. He constantly played at our nightclubs. Frank Caprio looked at Harrison. Is this allegation true? Mr. Harrison. Harrison's eyes had welled up. His 30-year honorable career was crumbling in an instant. I'm a sick man, Your Honor. I have a gambling addiction. Does this excuse your criminal activity? Asked Frank Caprio in a stern voice. Martinez dropped the bombshell. Your Honor, Harrison wasn't just selling information. Sometimes he destroyed evidence for us. Double quotes. Frank Caprio was surprised. What do you mean he destroyed evidence? He deleted reports coming to the police station. He destroyed photos and videos related to our gambling operations. He even had one of our arrested men released in the middle of the night. Rodriguez intervened. Your Honor, we have documents supporting these allegations. Police records appeared on the screen. These documents clearly show Harrison abused his authority. Frank Caprio's patience had run out. Mr. Harrison, are these also lies? Harrison had completely collapsed. Your Honor, I made very big mistakes. Mistakes? Frank Caprio stood up. You're the police chief of this city. People trust you. They call you for security, but you're collaborating with criminals. Harrison's tears had become a flood. Your Honor, it all started with a small debt. $10,000. My wife was sick. Treatment costs. Then I gambled thinking that $10,000 became $50,000. $50,000 became $200,000. Frank Caprio was listening, but his expression wasn't changing. Vincent Torres came to me. He said just small information. He said no one will get hurt. But then everything got out of control. Do you know how many people were harmed because of these gambling operations? Asked Frank Caprio. I don't know, Your Honor. Let me tell you, 23 families lost their homes. 15 people attempted suicide. Dozens of children lost their fathers to gambling. And you were complicit in all of this. Harrison was sobbing uncontrollably. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm so sorry. Rodriguez played his final card. Your Honor, we have one more piece of evidence. A blurry video appeared on the screen. This video is from Harrison's secret meeting with Vincent Torres. Date, the 15th of last month. In the video, Harrison and Torres were talking in a deserted parking lot. The sound wasn't clear, but money exchange was clearly visible. Frank Caprio watched the video carefully. Mr. Harrison, is the person in this video you? Harrison bowed his head. Yes, Your Honor. What are you discussing? Torres was asking me about the next operation plan, and you told him. A long silence. Yes, Your Honor. Frank Caprio stood up. The courtroom fell into deep silence. This would be one of the most difficult decisions in his 30-year judicial career. Mr. Harrison, said Frank Caprio in a powerful voice, for 30 years, you ensured this city's safety. People trusted you, but you repaid this trust with betrayal. Harrison stood there, head bowed. Your gambling addiction might be an excusable illness, but what you did goes far beyond your illness. You committed crimes, protected criminals, violated justice. Frank Caprio paused, took a deep breath. However, said Frank Caprio, responding to injustice with injustice is also not right. You are a sick person. You need treatment. Everyone in the courtroom was surprised. No one could predict what decision Frank Caprio would make. Robert Harrison, this court sentences you to 15 years in prison. However, 5 years of this sentence are suspended. You have no right to parole. After serving your sentence, you will undergo gambling addiction treatment. Harrison's knees buckled. He couldn't stand. Additionally, continued Frank Caprio, all money in your Cayman Islands account will be distributed to families victimized by gambling. Your retirement pension has also been confiscated. Asterisk after Frank Caprio announced the sentence, there was deep silence in the courtroom. Harrison was completely collapsed. His 30-year career, honor, dignity, everything had ended in an instant. Mr. Harrison, said Frank Caprio one last time, I want to tell you something. You are a sick person but also a criminal person. Your gambling addiction doesn't make you a victim. There are dozens of families who became victims because of what you did. Frank Caprio gathered the files on his desk. I hope after serving your sentence, you emerge as a truly changed person, someone who adds value to this city, to this country. Harrison spoke one last time. Your Honor, I apologize to everyone, to my family, to the people of this city, to my colleagues. I apologize to everyone. Asterisk the consequences of Harrison's case didn't stay in the courtroom. Local television stations, newspapers, even national press carried this story as headlines. Police chief collaborated with gambling ring. 30-year career ended in one night. Historic decision from Frank Caprio. The city's people were in shock. Thousands who trusted Harrison, who respected him, had difficulty accepting this betrayal. But at the same time, Frank Caprio's decision was also being debated. Some thought the sentence was too light. Others thought justice had been served. Asterisk after Harrison's trial ended, police launched an operation to capture Vincent Torres and his gang. Knowing they could no longer get information from Harrison, the gang was trying to leave the city. But FBI agent Sarah Chen knew all the gang's plans. Torres and 15 gang members were caught at the airport, thanks to information provided by Diego Martinez. All gambling houses the gang had operated for 3 years were closed. Assets worth millions of dollars were confiscated. Asterisk the $300. Zero from Harrison's Cayman Islands account was distributed to 23 families victimized by gambling. Each of these families had lost their homes and jobs due to gambling. A woman named Maria Santos burst into tears saying, "Now I can send my children to school." Her husband had lost their house gambling. A man named James Wilson said, "Justice was served. Harrison not only protected criminals, but also caused our suffering." Asterisk a week after the case closed, Frank Caprio gave an interview on local television. "The biggest lesson I learned from Harrison's case is this," said Frank Caprio. "Power can both elevate and destroy a person." Harrison represented justice for 30 years, but suddenly he became the main actor of injustice. The interviewing journalist asked, "Some think the sentence was light. What do you say?" Frank Caprio thought, "Justice is not revenge. We punished Harrison but also gave him a chance to be rehabilitated to society. When he gets out after 15 years, maybe he'll be an example to others." What do you think about gambling addiction? Gambling addiction is a serious illness, but illness is not an excuse to commit crimes. Harrison may be sick, but he's also criminal. We must not separate the two. Asterisk 1 year after Harrison's arrest, gambling activities in Boston decreased by 80%. New police chief Jennifer Park established strict rules and made fighting gangs a priority. Harrison was receiving gambling addiction treatment in prison. Doctors announced he was making progress in his treatment. Vincent Torres received a 25-year prison sentence. The gang was completely disbanded. Frank Caprio continued to evaluate Harrison's case as an example of how justice defeats injustice. And that night's phone conversation, at 11:47 p.m. changed Harrison's life, destroyed a gang, and brought an end to injustice. Because sometimes, just one phone conversation can be enough to bring justice. This story is about trust, betrayal, and the power of justice. The trap Harrison fell into was a path that started with gambling addiction and led to criminal partnership. But Frank Caprio's justice offered both punishment and hope. Because true justice is not just punishment, but also healing. Don't forget to subscribe to our Stories from the Court channel for more shocking stories from the courtroom. Don't miss Frank Caprio's most dramatic cases.